The daughters of the late legendary singer Tony Bennett are now suing their brother over the estate. Antonio and Johanna Bennett claim that their brother Danny failed to disclose some of their father's assets in his role as trustee, and that includes money made from a deal that gave his catalog and certain image rights to the brand development firm Iconoclast. So a family feud here brewing over what's left of his estate. Joining me now to talk more about the case, entertainment attorney Tre Lovell. Thank you and welcome. You know, how much money are we talking about? Do we know, or is that under lock and key?
We don't really know. What we know, that it's been reported that his estate was worth about $200 million when he passed away, that he had made $100 million in just live performances over the past 15 years. But supposedly the estate is worth $7 million. And so there's a lot of questions in terms of the current value, what it was before, and kind of where money is gone, which is kind of what the fight is all about.
So as you're reading this lawsuit, do the daughters seem to have a case here against the brother? What stands out to you?
Yeah, this is really a lawsuit of transparency and oversight. What's happening is you have 5 beneficiaries of a trust. You've got the 4 kids, 2 from one marriage, 2 from another marriage, and the widow, who are all supposed to split the trust proceeds and the trust benefits equally. And apparently the manager of the trust, which is one of the brothers, one of the sons, has not been as transparent. There's been a number of transactions which include, image rights and the sale of the publishing catalog to a third-party Iconoclast, an auction of certain personal property, loans that supposedly one of the trustee brother had received. So there's a number of things that apparently have not been fully disclosed, and the daughters don't fully understand. So they basically sued to say, hey, we need an accounting of all the transactions that have transpired, how much money has gone through. We need to make sure all the assets of the trust have been placed in the trust. Because a trustee has a fiduciary duty to manage the trust in the best interest of all the beneficiaries, not just himself if he's a beneficiary.
How about a will? How would that play into all of this, Tre? And does that help alleviate any of the confusion?
Sure. So when you pass away, 3 things happen. You have a will, you have a trust, or you have nothing. If you have a will, then that typically will lead you to probate. So you have to go into court, and you have to have an executrix, an administrator to administrate the will. If you have a trust, you bypass all of that, and the assets from the decedent go to all of the trust beneficiaries in a much more streamlined and easier way. And if you have neither, then you're subject to whatever the laws of the state are in terms of the division of property. So in this case, he had a trust, and per that trust, there's management instructions, how much the beneficiary is going to receive. There's a listing of all the personal property, any specific requests that the decedent or Tony Bennett may have had. And as the trustee, the brother's responsible to manage the trust in the best interest of everybody.
How common is this? I mean, in a high-profile person like Tony Bennett, I know Aretha Franklin's family had a similar situation, everybody trying to divvy up what was left of her estate. I think of Elvis more recently and the future of Graceland. I mean, is this relatively common when you're talking about this much money in a family with somebody who has been lost that was such a well-known person?
It is. It's not unusual. And it's particularly common when the trustee also happens to be one of the beneficiaries. Because when you're a trustee and you are a receiver of the property, you have duties not to self-deal. You have duties not to accept monies that may not be entitled to you. You have to administrate the trust equally and not just on behalf of yourself. So it seems that in this case, there's not necessarily any allegations of wrongdoing. At this point, it's just the daughters want to say, hey, this doesn't sound right. We haven't seen any of the books and records on this transaction. We don't know what's been sold here. This is our property as well. You need to let us know so we can judge. We can make sure that all the assets are there, that these sales have been proper. If you receive money or commissions, we need to know how much and whether or not that was proper. So it's really just oversight at this point, but it's not unusual at all.
And how do these things usually work themselves out? What's the outcome typically, Tre, and how do you get to that point?
So now that they filed the lawsuit, they're under the court supervision. So now you're going to have a judge, and you're going to have obligations for discovery and disclosing documents, information, and so it's all going to be flushed out. It's going to become transparent. All of these deals are going to become known to everybody. And then the court's going to take a look at this and say, okay, this transaction A, this transaction B, make sure everything's fine. If not, if monies have flowed to the brother that shouldn't have, then he's going to have to pay them back and distribute them to the beneficiaries. They're going to make sure that the trust is being managed properly. So now that it's under the court supervision, it's going to become transparent, and it's going to be protected. The beneficiaries will be protected.
And maybe Thanksgiving is not together this year. A little bit awkward. Tre, thank you. It's been nice to talk to you.
Thank you.